Welcome to Foley Field in Athens, Georgia on a fabulous Friday night for the start of a huge three-game SEC series as the first place and fourth-ranked Georgia Bulldogs play host to the Florida Gators, who are fourth in the SEC and 3 games behind the Bulldogs as we start the weekend. Georgia number 1 in the country in home runs, Florida pitching number 1 in the country with 7 shutouts. And good evening, I'm Matt Stewart, joined by former Georgia Bulldogs All-SEC catcher, assistant coach, and 2-time minor league All-Star Jason Jacobs. And Jason, this series is huge in so many ways. Number one, you have the rivalry aspect. This is the 315th meeting between these two teams. You have the conference race aspect. By the end of the weekend, we'll be at the halfway point of the season. And you have the age-old baseball question. Which wins, great pitching or great hitting?
Yeah, strength on strength. Florida with the pitching, Georgia with the hitting, and this atmosphere is already electric, so expect a really good series out of these. Florida, coming off of a series loss at home, got a little momentum going on the road and getting a win against FSU earlier in the week, so they're looking to carry that momentum. Georgia playing some of the best baseball they have all year long, looking to continue carrying that in SEC play.
And Georgia has one of the top offenses in the entire country, led by Trey Phelps. He is the current SEC co-player of the week, and since he moved into the leadoff spot 7 games ago, he's taken his game to another level.
It's been really, really cool and fun to watch him mature as a hitter. I think he's really embraced that leadoff role. Wes is sticking with it. Has really started using the whole field since moving up to that leadoff spot, and the numbers show it.
And the big news for the Gators is a change in their starting rotation. Is Aiden King will get the ball tonight. He moves from the number 2 spot in the rotation to number 1. Liam Peterson, who's a potential top 10 pick in the MLB draft, moves from number 1 to number 2. He pitches tomorrow.
And you see the numbers there. I think Sully just wants to start this series off going a little bit deeper with his starter in King, knowing the offensive potential that Georgia has. Wants to eat some innings here. King a little bit more efficient with his pitches than Peterson, so they're going to flip-flop that up and see if they can get off to a good start.
And speaking of pitching, on the mound for the Georgia Bulldogs, making his 9th start of the season, is Joey Volchko, who's 6-0 on the season.
And the Bulldogs got some pretty good pitching themselves. I know that we're kind of building that matchup of good pitching from Florida against the great lineup of Georgia, but Georgia's pretty good on the mound as well. Florida's going to have their hands full with Volchko.
And here's a look at the Gators' batting order. 7 right-handers and 2 left-handers. Surwick has been their top hitter in conference play at .319, 3 homers and 7 RBI. And the leadoff man is a local kid, Kyle Jones from North Oconee High School here in the Athens area, leading off for the Gators. First pitch to Jones is a ball 1. Kyle Jones, redshirt sophomore out of Athens. Prepped at North Oconee, started his college career at Stetson, where a couple of years ago he was the ASUN Freshman of the Year. You see the shadows cutting across the diamond, and the pitch goes into the shadows, and that's going to be ball number 2. Kyle Jones at .313, couple of homers and 23 RBI, .859 OPS. He leads the team in ABs, in runs scored, in hits, in doubles. Fewest strikeouts on the team. Strikes out once per 6.2 at-bats. And here's the 2-0 pitch from Volchko. And it hit him.
A little division of mindset there on Volchko. Looks like some pitch comm before the pitch. He wasn't getting it in. Pointed to his head, that kind of rushed that pitch. His whole body rushed. Left it arm side there. 3 big misses there from Volchko. Not the start you want to see.
Well, that's one of the things that we've talked about with Volchko and Coach Wes Johnson is handling the environment. Pretty much he's been able to do that a couple of weekends ago. Their second conference series at A&M. He did not handle it well. So pitching in front of big crowds, in particular hostile crowds. This is not a hostile crowd. This is the home crowd for him. But just handling the environment. That's 4 straight pitches that have missed the strike zone as Surwick stands in.
And some big misses.
So 1-0 to Surwick. Fastball, 5 consecutive misses from Volchko to start the game. Is he too amped up?
Maybe. That one in at 97. He's got that natural cut on his fastball. But that looked like it was overthrown, just yanked out of the zone.
He's a transfer from Stanford, and Coach Johnson said prior to this season he probably had never pitched in front of more than 1,200 people.
Right.
And so every weekend you're facing a crowd that's more than 1,200 people, including tonight. It's a packed out, standing room only crowd here at Foley Field.
And a little bit different than his last outing, which was in a hostile environment over there in Starkville, where he pitched well.
He was the winning pitcher last Thursday night in the series opener in Starkville. And that's going to be 7 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone for Volchko. As Serwick is ahead in the count 3-0. 313, 6 homers. Those all lead the team, as well as a 960 OPS. Has 32 RBI on the season. And that's a breaking ball. That's a fastball actually got in there for a strike, and it's 3-1.
Little cutter, slowed everything down. It's at 96. I know that sounds strange saying he slowed it down to 96, but got a little bit more action out of that pitch as well. So just loosening up.
3-1 pitch. Fouled out of play, and it's 3-2 now to Serwick. Serwick's the only guy on this Gators team that has started all 34 games for Florida. Leads the team with 32 RBI. Has struck out 42 times, though, which also leads the team. For over, takes us back Kyle Jones, who's their top base stealer. 16 out of 18 on the season, Jones. He's 7th in the conference. Of course, Daniel Jackson behind the plate, right up there in that top 7, along with Jones in the SEC. 3-2 chases him back again. Three balls and 2 strikes to Serwick. Last 15 games, he's been batting .345 to lead the team. 3-2 pitch, fouled back. Fastball 97 from Volchko that time. Volchko, the winning pitcher, starting pitcher in that 10-9 victory at Mississippi State last Thursday night, improving to 6-0 on the season. Allowed just 2 runs on 8 hits, over 5 innings, 3 strikeouts, and a walk. 3-2 from Volchko with the runner going, hit on the ground. Bad hop off a Branch, and everybody's going to be safe. That took a wicked bad hop off of Branch's shoulder, so first and second for the Gators to start the game.
Yeah, I think Branch played this into a bit of a bad hop. Got jammed, so there's a little bit of topspin on the ball, and that second bounce jumped up on him. I think he was trying to force the double play there. Runner in motion, maybe Branch had to do it all over again, maybe catch it a little bit deeper, give yourself a nice hop, get the out at first.
That's a rare error on Branch. Just his 3rd of the season and just the 20th for Georgia overall that has the fewest, or came into the series with the fewest errors in the entire SEC. Here's Bowen, swings and misses. Carson Bowen, 5'11", 235 senior catcher out of Anaheim Hills, California, and Orange Lutheran High School. Started his career at TCU. Spent the last 3 years with the Horned Frogs. Swings and misses. He's behind in the count 0-2.
Back-to-back sliders. You could see Bowen just kind of cheating to that fastball. It's really tough to see difference in spin, too, between that cutter and that slider.
257, 3 homers, 16 RBI. Not the power numbers you might expect out of the number 3 hitter in your order. And that's going to be ball number 1 to Bowen. So Bowen probably a little bit of a slower start than they anticipated after the power numbers he put up at TCU the last 3 seasons, where the last 3 seasons he hit .308 with 16 home runs. Here's the 1-2 pitch to Bowen. Hot shot, gloved by Phelps, hops up and throws, and got him. 1 down. Super defensive play by Trey Phelps. Everybody advances 90 feet, so now 2nd and 3rd and 1 down.
Yeah, great job by Phelps there. We talk about his hitting, but he's a heck of a defender as well. Made it at second base or at third base. But you see right here, playing a little closer to the line, anticipating maybe a no doubles type situation. Ranges to his left, does a good job at securing just 1 out.
Yeah, he's been the Bulldogs' everyday third baseman pretty much the entire season, although he had started 2 of the last 4 games at second base. Sir takes a swing and miss. Blake Sir had been in concussion protocol since running into the right field wall trying to catch a fly ball, or catching a fly ball against Ole Miss last Friday. He's out of Windermere, Florida High School, and a transfer from Miami. 0-1, missed, and it's 1-1 to Sir. So 2 in scoring position for Sir right here, and he's ahead in the count. Right, count is evened up at 1-1. 320, 4 homers, 25 RPI, and a 916 OPS. Called strike, makes it 1-2. He's only struck out 18 times in 28 games, so he's been a good bat there at the number 4 spot in the order.
Florida pretty notorious for their 2-strike approach and being able to spoil pitches, seeing them deep.
1-2, ball hit into left field, could
That's
be
trouble.
Long run, it's going to be dropped in fair territory. Run's going to score for Florida as Jones touches the plate, and Florida takes a 1-0 lead. Allen out in left field, might have overrun it a little bit.
No, he just he was shading the sun, and I think he actually played it perfectly. Just hit off the heel of his glove, hit him right in the palm, and he just couldn't secure the catch. I thought he had a chance to overrun this. Again, Jam not coming back nearly as hard as normal, but he had it played pretty well. Just hit him in the wrong spot of the glove.
So how crazy is that? 2 errors on Georgia here in the top of the first. It's Cade Curlin. You see Georgia came in ranked 6th in the country in fielding percentage. They've committed 2 errors here in this inning, 1 on Branch and now 1 on Allen.
And really from 2 places you don't expect to see an error. Kobe Branch has been a steady Eddie over there at shortstop, and then an outfield error on a fly ball. Again, doesn't surprise you when they overrun it, but he had it played perfectly, just didn't secure the catch.
Ball hit in the air to right field. Ishikawa has it for out number 2. There'll be no tag as the throw gets in quickly.
I think it's huge right there. Surowiec not able to advance on that error from Allen. There would be another run right there for Florida had he been able to be heads up and advance on the drop. I don't think Allen was really even looking to get it out at third base.
So Curlin, who had a monster series when they played here in 2024, is retired for the 2nd out of the inning. And here's Landon Stripling, another Georgia kid in the lineup here for the Gators. First pitch to Stripling, who's making just his 12th start of the season and just his 4th in conference play. 293 average, 1 homer and 4 RBI. The Gators once again will be playing without Brendan Lawson, their super shortstop, who's missing his 4th consecutive game here tonight because of illness. 0-1 pitch, low. Jackson recovers. Count now 1-1.
Great block there by Jackson. Ball hit well in front of home plate. He almost stood up to make sure it didn't hit him up high on that chest protector and kick, so he did a great job there.
Stripling played at Parkview High School in Gwinnett County, about 45-50 minutes from here. Parkview Panthers, a lot of Georgia players have come through that high school.
A lot of great ones.
Ball hits off his foot, bases will be loaded. That's the 2nd hit batter for Volchko in this inning.
Yeah, a bit of a sloppy start here. Just kind of yanks this as well. It's like a slider. He's going on the back foot.
So Volchko had hit only 1 batter through his first 8 starts. He's hit 2 here in the first inning. Throw that into the mix with the 2 errors, and Georgia off to an uncharacteristic start here for them, pitching and fielding wise.
Yeah, not the start you want, but still just 1 pitch away from limiting the damage on what really has been one of their sloppier innings that we've seen.
Here's Cole Stanford. There's a strike to Stanford. Stanford in the DH spot tonight, another Georgia kid out of Harris County down near the Columbus, Georgia area. Started his career at Lenore-Rhine, so that's 3 homegrown Georgia players in the starting lineup for the Florida Gators tonight. .250 batting average, 5 homers, 13 RBI, hit number 5 solo knock against Florida State on Tuesday. Ball hit to Phelps, and that'll be the final out of the inning. So the Gators load the bases. Georgia commits 2 errors. Gators take the early lead. Well, there's Aiden King getting his first #1 starting spot of the season. He started last Friday, but that was as the #2 starter in the series against Ole Miss. And he's been magnificent. 9th start of the season. They have 7 shutouts, as I mentioned early. He's started 4 of their 7 shutouts.
Yeah, Kevin O'Sullivan has a knack for being a good pitching coach. I don't know if you've heard about that, but he knows how to get them and he knows how to develop them. Fastball, slider, changeup, splitter. Fastball is going to be 91 to 92. Been up to 95, has a lot of ride on it. I think that's going to give this Georgia lineup a bit of trouble. They have a tendency to kind of swing under the ball, so look for that ride, and then the true splitter is a real swing and miss pitch.
And here's the batting order for Georgia: 5 right-handers and 4 left-handers. And Rylan Lujo, who is from South Florida, so we talked about the Georgia players in the Florida lineup. Here's a Florida player in the Georgia lineup. He's been the Bulldogs' leading hitter in conference play at .452.
And it's been a lot of fun to watch him mature as a hitter at the plate, kind of work his way up the lineup into regular time as well. Just a sophomore, has really kind of come on and embraced his role and been very productive for the Dogs.
Georgia with the #1 home run hitting team in the country, 98 home runs. It'll be an interesting test here because Florida Gators starting pitchers have given up just 2 home runs the entire season in 136 plus innings.
I think that's a big question for this Georgia offense, or it has been based on previous years. They've hit a lot of home runs, but are they able to score without the home run? And I think going back to Sunday against South Carolina 2 weeks ago, they scored 9 runs without the benefit of a home run and have really been cruising ever since as a more complete offense.
Trey Phelps at the plate, 7. This makes the 8th consecutive game that Phelps has been in the leadoff spot. The previous 26 were played in the #2 spot in the batting order. Here's the 2-0 pitch to Phelps, and that's going to be a strike, and it's 2-1. Phelps #1 in the SEC with a .413 batting average. 2-1 pitch in there for a strike, and it's 2-2. So has supplanted his teammate Daniel Jackson, who has spent much of the first part of the season in the #1 spot in the batting race in the conference. 2-2 pitch to Phelps. That's low, ball 3. Phelps batted .421 last week with 3 homers and 8 RBI to win SEC Co-Player of the Week honors, and that's going to be ball 4. Oh, called strike 3. Phelps is astonished. What do you think, partner?
I think it's really tough to pitch into Trey Phelps without hitting him. That one just looked down. So it's probably on the corner there, but a good win from Bowen. I think Phelps had it down, which is why he was a little upset.
Yeah, I think it hit the corner, so it was just low. It was below the knees.
Yeah.
I'd have to maybe get a cross view of that to see where the ball was when it came across the plate. It ended up below his knees.
Close enough to, you got to try and fight it off. Just a really tough pitch for a right-handed hitter, bearing down on you. A little bit of run, arm side, into that kind of void in your swing, that low and in part.
Here's Daniel Jackson, high and tight to Daniel. It's 1-1. One ball, one strike. Aiden King out there working tonight as the #1 starter for the Gators. And that's going to be a strike 2. It's 1-2. And King has been spectacular for them to replace Liam Peterson as the #1 starter in this rotation for the Gators is quite the feat. Of course, the idea had been kicked around. If you follow the news reports, it's not something that just popped up. It had been talked about over the last week. And all the pitchers were like, oh, well, it doesn't matter and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter, do you think? Ball is hit in the air. into shallow center field, long run, and it's going to be caught by the left fielder for out number 2. Here's a side look at that called third strike on Phelps. Now tell me what you think.
Yeah, that's down.
Just below that right knee, I thought.
Yeah, that's a tough one. I mean, could have gone either way. I think establishing the strike zone both as a pitcher and a hitter, you just want to know that that's consistent. If I'm Volchko, I'm expecting that on my end when I'm pitching.
How long before we have ABS in college baseball?
Oh, man. Oh, man.
It's been great because they do it fast.
It does. It happens fast. But you know me, I'm a catcher. I like that. There's an intangible of catchers that can win those pitches, and that art has kind of been lost. They do it a lot differently, but it's not just with the glove. It's a little bit of coaxing them into it with what you say and how you say it to the umpire, too. You can add a little something to the pitcher.
1 ball, 1 strike. O'Shaughnessy, they now move the third baseman behind the second base bag. So the shift the Gators have on right now is they have the third baseman playing right behind the second base bag, and the shortstop is in his typical spot, Colt Meyer. Second baseman playing a little shallow right field. 1 ball, 2 strikes to O'Shaughnessy. Swing and a miss, and that's the end of the inning. King gets 2 strikeouts in the first. We'll head to the second with the Gators on top, 1-0. And there's Sully. Kevin O'Sullivan in his 19th season as the Gators head coach. 2017 national champions in 2023. They played Ford in the National Championship Series as he went head-to-head with Wes Johnson, who at the time was the pitching coach for LSU. LSU won it in 2023. They got back in 2024 quite unexpectedly after they came here and won 2 out of 3 from the Bulldogs in the final weekend of the regular season. Kendall leads off the inning for the Gators. There's a strike 1 to Kendall. Left fielder Jacob Kendall at the plate in the 0-1 pitch. Volchko outside, it's 1-1. Kendall is a freshman out of A3 Academy in St. Augustine. 1-1 in there for a strike, and it's 1-2 to Kendall. Kendall making just his 19th start of the season, swings and misses. He goes down on 4 pitches. Strikeout number 1 for Volchko.
Great sequence, backdoor slider, and then this one, kind of the back foot style. You see how it just starts right there on the bat plane and breaks inside of it.
So here's Colt Myers, the shortstop, batting 9th, and he's filling in for Brendan Lawson, who's their top hitter and shortstop, and again, he's out for the 4th consecutive game. Colt's also a freshman at a St. John's Country Day in St. Augustine. 1-0, swings and misses, and it's 1-1. So Volchko looks like he's starting to find the range here.
Settling in, he is. Really, it's a rhythm thing, and I feel like that first inning is always tough.
This is a big hole for the Gators when you replace Myers offensively. When Myers replaces Lawson, who has 11 home runs on the season, and 31 RBI, and a .352 batting average, an .800 slugging percentage, and .556 on base percentage, which is tops in the nation, or close to tops in the nation. And
it's an old school stat, but I always look at it. He also has 34 walks against just 25 strikeouts, so he's walking more than he strikes out. I just feel when a guy's able to do that and have that big of a delta between the two, he's really locked in.
Yeah, so you're asking the freshman Myers here to really plug a big hole. Don't know that offensively he can do that. That's a called strike 3.
And the slider command is there for Volchko this inning. This is a little front door breaking ball, starts it at the hitter's hip, just freezes you. Good job there by Dan Jackson, and possibly a low strike 1 right there by him.
And that's one of the things Wes Johnson, when we talked to him this week leading up to this ball game in this series, said every week it's been a little bit different for Volchko. He's getting better each and every week, whether he's showing the slider or the changeup or the cutter or the fastball. Each start has been a little bit different. Kyle Jones batting for the second time, and the half-hearted swing is a called strike, and it's 0-2 now to Kyle Jones. Oh-2 pitch, outside 1-2. Jones has been really good for the Gators. In conference play, not quite as good, batting just .222 in conference play. No homers and 5 RBI. Ball hit up the middle, backhanded, and the throw by Black. Got him! Ryan Black flashing the leather out there at second base. As the Gators go 1-2-3 here in the top of the second. Let's see if there's going to be a challenge. Nope. Back in Athens, Matt Stewart, Jason Jacobs as we get this 3-game weekend series started in front of a packed house. And Wes Johnson in his 3rd season as the Bulldogs head coach. 114-40 his overall record. Fastest to 100 wins in Georgia history. He spoke with great admiration, Jason, about this Florida pitching staff and said the Bulldogs would have to get to them early. Didn't get to them in the 1st inning. But maybe the 2nd we'll see as Lujo leads off the inning for Georgia. Out of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas High School in Coconut Creek, Florida. Started his college career at Dayton. .375, 5 homers, 22 RBI. Coach Johnson seemed a little taken aback when I asked him how did Lujo end up at Dayton, and he said, "Well, I don't know." And basically, the gist of my question was, how did Lujo get away from all the power conference schools in the Southeast and end up at Dayton? I mean, this kid's a pro. I think he is.
He's a good-looking player, and he's done a lot of maturing, I feel like, throughout the year.
3-0 pitch in there for a strike. And defensively, they can play him anywhere. He's playing center field right now. And, of course, we've talked at great length about his grandfather, the late, great Rennie Stennett, who was a second baseman for 2 World Championship teams with the Pittsburgh Pirates. He might end up being an infielder in his pro days. And Coach Johnson said that's probably the biggest challenge for him looking forward to when he becomes a professional is where does he settle defensively. He'll need to get enough reps there to really develop as that position, whatever position that ends up being.
You make sure that bat keeps playing, and they'll find a place to plug you in.
Right now for the Bulldogs, it's center field. 3 balls and 2 strikes to Lujo. And that's going to be a called strike 3. Wow, Aiden King is at the top of his game. He has struck out 3 of the Bulldogs' first 4 batters. So you see Georgia averages 2.9 home runs per game, which is number 1 in the country, number 1 in program history right now. And Florida's starting pitchers have given up only 2 home runs the entire season. So like they say, something's got to give. Here's Oriach. So when I posed that question to you in the open, I don't know that you really answered it. Which one wins, great hitting or great pitching?
Oh, man. Usually, it's the pitching. Usually.
That's the way I was brought up to believe. Here's the 1-0 pitch. In there for a strike to Oriach, and it's 1-1. 3 of Oriach's 5 home runs came in that weekend series at A&M, and that ball is hit a mile in the air into right field. Sir camps under it for out number 2.
You know, we've seen enough of the Bulldogs getting off to slow starts. It's usually that second time through the order. And you can see, watch them in between if they take a pitch that's a called strike, they'll look over to the dugout and kind of flash what it was. Was it a changeup? Was it a slider, fastball? Did you have it down? They really do a good job at communicating. Oriach over there with Ishikawa, telling him what he saw, the left-handed batter to the left-handed batter.
Here's Henry Allen, the sophomore out of Auburn, Alabama High School. Counts 1-0 to him. Started his career at Mississippi State, spent a fall ball season there, then transferred to Northwest Florida State. He's got 10 homers on the year, 32 RBI, and a .310 batting average. 1-1, ball is hit solidly to center field. Sunglasses flashing and leaping up at the last moment to get it is Kyle Jones for out number 3, as the Bulldogs have been 6 up and 6 down so far in this game. Terrific shaky defense from Georgia in that first inning led to the Gators' only run so far today, and it was an unearned run, but it counts nonetheless, as Florida has a 1-0 lead and they bat here in the top of the third.
Yeah, you hate to spot the visiting team a run right off the bat, but that's what they did in the first. They're going to have to overcome it. Bolchko looks like he's settling in, has real good command of that slider he did in the second inning.
And here's Surwick batting for the second time. He reached on the first of those 2 errors in the first inning when the ball took a bad hop off of Branch. You felt like Branch had misplayed it a little bit.
I think he just tried to force the double play. I think he was trying to get to second base to beat the runner that was in motion on the 3-2 count. I think he got a little bit too aggressive. And you know that happens when your pitcher's struggling to find the strike zone, as Bolchko was at the time. I mean, 5 straight balls to open up this game.
I'll tell Colby you threw him under the bus.
No, I think, I mean, it's an error of aggression in trying to help out the pitcher, like take a little bit of pressure off of his shoulders, a little bit of weight off his shoulders, I should say. But, you know, it happens.
How about the play his brother Kyle made last night? Don't know whether you saw it or not. In that Oklahoma-Vanderbilt game that Vanderbilt ended up winning by scoring a bunch of runs late. But his brother Kyle plays second base, starting second baseman for the Sooners, made a super play in that game.
That was a fun series having both those guys on the same field when they came to, Oklahoma came to Foley last year.
Yep. 1-2. Hot shot, going to get in the left field for a base hit. And that'll be the first hit of the game for either team, and it comes from Surwick.
Yeah, good piece of hitting there by Surwick, staying through the slider down in the zone. I feel like Florida maybe making the adjustment, seeing as many sliders as Bolchko threw in that second inning. Maybe they're starting to sit on it a little bit, look for it. So Bolchko might have to find some command of that cutter.
You thought you liked it when Kyle and Colby played in the series against each
other.
Yeah. I mean, Mom and Dad loved it.
That was great. They had the split jerseys. That was fantastic. The whole family was here.
Yeah, I believe they rented an Airbnb,
That's
a big
right.
one for a bunch, because they had a lot of people
It was
here.
like a family reunion.
Yeah, it was.
And of course, the Dogs won 2 out of 3, so.
They did. Giving Colby bragging rights over his brother for an entire 365 days. Actually, longer than that. Well, Oklahoma did beat him in the SEC tournament, so he got a measure of it back.
There you go. They split
And
the overall season series.
And they don't play during the regular season this year. 1 ball, 1 strike to Bowen. Got robbed of a base hit by Phelps his first time up. Hits the ball to Branch this time. Slings it to second, 1 on to first. Double play. 6-4-3. Branch Black to O'Shaughnessy.
Yeah, much better job there by Branch. Better feet. Played it to a good short hop. Good feet over to Black. Tailor-made right there. Nice and easy. Uses his feet well to get that short hop. And a great feed. Good turn.
24th double play turned by the Bulldogs. The Gators had hit in only 21, second fewest in the SEC. So now 2 down here in the top of the third for Sir. Reached on the air by Allen in left field back in that first inning, allowing a run to score. Strike to Sir, and it's 1-1. So interesting, he was officially credited with a sack fly on that.
That is interesting.
I thought that would just be a straight up error. Ground ball hit the black, and that'll be the end of the inning. Gators still on top, 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the third. Florida, Georgia, what other sport you play it in? It's always a great rivalry, and this one's underway with Florida on top, 1-0 heading to the bottom of the third. You look at their season summary, 25-9 overall, 7-5 in the SEC. So they start the series in a three-way tie for fourth place. So they're very much right in the mix. They're tied with Mississippi State and Texas A&M, and they're 3 games behind the Bulldogs. As we've mentioned already, only 2 home runs allowed by their starting pitching so far this season. Their 7 shutouts not only lead the SEC, it's number 1 in the nation, and 4 off their single-season record set in 2011. And they're also currently number 7 in the RPI. Number 5 RPI, number 7 strength of schedule. They're 9-5 against quad 1 opponents. They've gone 8-0 against teams ranked in the top 25.
And you look at this Florida team, they're a little banged up on the offensive side too, so there's even more potential. They can kind of weather this storm of not being full strength.
There's Kenny Ishikawa batting for the first time. Never closed the door on this Florida team.
Yes.
Everybody learned that in 2014. They came here for the final 2024, pardon me if I said 2014, I meant 2024. They came here the final weekend of the regular season. Their overall record was hovering around 500. They needed to win the series to guarantee that they would finish over 500 to make themselves eligible for the NCAA tournament. Bouncer behind the second base bag into the shift, and that's going to be out number 1. And so not only did they make the NCAA tournament, win that series against Georgia, leave Athens safely enough by over 500 to make sure they got in the NCAA tournament, they got all the way to Omaha. Here's Colby Branch batting for the first time today. Ball hit in the air. Of course, you coached on a Georgia team that was in a similar situation.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, their clinching victory to make sure they finished over 500 came against the Florida Gators in the SEC tournament, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that is correct.
Called that one back in the old CSS days. Here's the 0-1 pitch to Branch. It's outside, 1-1. Captain Branch at the plate. 1-1. Georgia does not choose captains per se, but Wes Johnson says even though we don't name captains, choose captains, everybody knows that Colby Branch is the captain of the team. Here's the 1-2 pitch. Line drive hitting the left field, going to be caught by Kendall for out number 2. So 8 up and 8 down for Georgia. What do you think of Aiden King so far?
He's looking good. Again, command of both sides of the plate, has command of all 4 pitches to this point. Actually, the Dogs have hit a couple of balls right on the nose, just unable to find any grass out there. We saw the bottom of the second come to a close on Henry Allen, 112 off of his bat, almost 113. Right at the center fielder, right there, Colby Branch, 102 just at the left fielder.
To put that number in perspective, the hardest hit home run for the Bulldogs this season came off the bat of Henry Allen and also was 112 off the bat. So he hit that as hard as any hard hit home run by Georgia this season, and they've hit 98 of those. It's Ryan Black at the bottom of the order. Here's the 1-0 pitch to Ryan Black. Fouled out of play. He has been Georgia's leadoff hitter for most of the season until they decided to put Branch in there. And Branch, well, not Branch, but Phelps in there, and Phelps is on deck right now.
Yeah, the way it kind of works out, I mean, with Black at the bottom, it just becomes basically what their starting lineup was once you get to the 9 spot, what it was prior to Trey Phelps being in that leadoff spot.
Yeah, Black, instead of being in the number 1 spot's in the number 9 spot. And so the next guy is Phelps, who's now in the number 1 spot instead of the number 2 spot. And Daniel Jackson's in the 2 spot instead of the number 3 spot.
Right.
We could keep going, but I don't think it's necessary. Here's the 1-2 pitch.
They're seeing that split finger very well, able to lay off it. The split finger, obviously a chase pitch, just kind of falls off the table there late.
So what's the key to recognizing the split finger?
It really just, you want to see spin. A lot of times they tumble almost like a tumbling knuckleball with very little spin rate on it.
Called strike 3, and Black is retired. Another strikeout for Aiden King, who has struck out 4 his first time through the order with Georgia. Heading to the 4th. Foley Field on a spectacular Friday night to start this 3-game weekend series in Athens, Georgia, as we head to the top of the 4th. Gators leading the 4th-ranked Georgia Bulldogs 1-0. So far, we have an old-fashioned SEC Friday night pitching.
Yeah, I think this series is going to play out that way for the most part. I was a betting man. I would think 5-3 type scores. Going to be tight, come down to the last inning, just who gets one to drop and who doesn't, who makes the pitch when they need it and who doesn't.
Well, here's Cade Curlin batting for the 2nd time. Goes after the first pitch and taps it foul. Curlin, as we mentioned, had a monster series back in 2024 against the Bulldogs. Homered 3 times, went 4 for 13 with 6 RBI as the Gators won 2 out of 3 here in Athens. Of course, Georgia last year swept the Gators in Gainesville. It's the 0-1 in there for a strike, and Curlin's now behind 0-2. And for his career, Curlin is 8 for 29 against Georgia. Actually, you can make it 8 for 30 after he flew out in the first. 4 homers and 11 RBI. 9 runs scored, so he's always done well against Georgia. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Curlin.
Ooh.
Fouled off the mask of Daniel Jackson, and he'll take a moment.
That got him in the side of almost in the side of the helmet. A tough guy.
So 1 ball, 2 strikes to Curlin. Joey Volchko has settled in after kind of surviving a rough first inning, if you want to call giving up 1 run a rough first inning, but it has Georgia behind. Here's the 1-2, struck him out.
And he goes to the slider late. Actually, a couple of those fastballs had a little bit of run. Normally his fastball cuts away from the right-hander. A couple of fastballs he threw during that sequence ran back in and then finishes them away with the slider. Mixing his pitches a little bit better is Volchko.
So Volchko has struck out 3 of the last 7 batters that he's faced. And here's Stripling batting for the 2nd time, and he's behind 0-1 in the count. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. One ball, 1 strike to Stripling. Hits this one in the air. We talked about all the great Georgia baseball players that have come through the Parkview program. Jeff Keppinger, the all-SEC shortstop, maybe the biggest and the best. Clint Sammons.
Jeff Francoeur. Well, he didn't come here, but he's in the Parkview program. Zach Cohn, another one.
Matt Olson, the current first baseman for the Atlanta Braves, came through the Parkview program, of course, as well. Produced a lot of great baseball players. Here's the 2-2 pitch. In the air to center field, Lujo shielding his eyes with his glove. Looks like he's got it. He does.
And you mentioned the strikeout numbers from Volchko. You really want a couple more fly ball outs early in at bats. The way that he went through that first inning took him 20 plus pitches to get through it. very taxing on the arm. So those strikeouts lead to high pitch counts. He's already at 59.
So 2 out here in the 4th, and that's one of the things Coach Johnson talked about when we talked about Volchko. He says he's learning how to navigate the lineup in this league, who you can chase strikeouts and who you can't chase strikeouts. Here's Stanford. Count 1-1 to Stanford. Grounded out to third to end the first inning, his first time up. So the Gators hit by a number of injuries here. I think you alluded to it earlier. And we've already told you that Brendan Lawson is out for the 4th consecutive game with illness. Cash Strayer's out with a hand injury. Colton Schwartz is out. Of course, maybe the biggest out of all those, and those are all pretty big. Ball is hit down the line in right field, and it's going to be a foul ball as Ishikawa cannot get to it. Is Jackson Barbary, their fine relief pitcher, sophomore, another Georgia kid. He's out of Brookwood High School, which is the #1 rival of Parkview High School, which we've been talking about here. He's projected to miss 4 weeks with an oblique injury. That's a big loss out of their bullpen.
And that's tough, the oblique. Just coming back, it's almost like a hamstring. It's kind of hit or miss when it does get back to 100%. When to start testing it, because you could re-aggravate it.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Stanford. Called strike 3, and that will end the inning. 2 strikeouts for Volchko in the inning, 4 total in the game. We'll head to the bottom of the 4th with Daniel Jackson leading things off when we get back. Back in Athens, heading to the bottom of the 4th with Florida on top 1-0. Daniel Jackson with his 16 homers and 17 stolen bases. On deck, he'll bat second in this inning behind Trey Phelps, who will be leading off the inning.
Second time through the order. We'll see if the Dogs make a little bit of an adjustment. They started to halfway through the first time, started putting the ball in play with some aggression. But Phelps struck out looking on a questionable pitch. It's a tough part about leading off. You don't know the strike zone either.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Phelps. Low and away. 1-1. Matt Stewart along with Jason Jacobs. Thanks for joining us to get this weekend series started. Next 2 games in the series will be noon starts on Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow on ESPN. Count goes 1-2 to Phelps. Bulldogs so far 9 up, 9 down.
Phelps letting a couple of fastballs go by. It's almost like he's sitting on something else, waiting for that off-speed pitch. It's very uncharacteristic of him to let a fastball go by, especially out over the plate.
2 balls and 2 strikes to Phelps. With the pink and green combination working tonight. Hit to the third baseman. 1 down. Surwick throws him out. First out of the inning.
I really like the way King is moving the ball in and out. He's finished Trey Phelps off with inside fastballs in his first 2 at-bats. That one put in play, the other one called strike looking, but really kind of establishes that outside part of the plate and then finishes him off in.
Daniel Jackson, 16 home runs, tied for first in the SEC with Caden Sorrell of Texas A&M. Number 6 in the country with those 16 home runs. 17 stolen bases and 18 attempts. He is 6th in the SEC in stolen bases. Ball hit in the air down the right field line, long run. Nobody's going to get to that. The combination of 16 home runs, 17 stolen bases. There's only been a few players in Georgia history who have come close to those kind of totals. Last year, Robbie Burnett, who is now in the Yankees organization, had 20 home runs and 17 stolen bases and was a semifinalist for the Dick Hauser and Golden Spikes Awards. Here's the 0-2 pitch, fouled back. Gordon Beckham, of course, at the top of the list of players who were able to get the double-digit home runs and the double-digit stolen bases combo working. Jordan Beckham, finalist for the Golden Spikes Award, but Georgia never had a Golden Spikes Award winner until Charlie Condon. Here's the 0-2 hit to the shortstop. Myers on a nice hop throws him out for out number 2.
Again, finishing the at-bat hard in late against some of these more dangerous hitters in the Georgia lineup. I think he got away with a little bit of a hanging slider on that foul ball. We saw Dan Jackson look like he was all over it, but it kind of backed up on King.
Well, Kevin O'Sullivan's decision to start Aiden King in the series opener has so far looked like a brilliant decision. O'Shaughnessy swings and misses. He comes into the game having homered in 3 straight games, dating back to that Mississippi State series. Did in the last 2 games of the Mississippi State series, including the game winner in the 10th inning. And then did it again in that blowout win against Presbyterian on Tuesday. 0-1 pitch is hit to the second baseman. And Curlin will throw him out, and Georgia again goes 3 up, 3 down, and we're heading to the 5th. Top of the 5th in Athens, and Florida leading Georgia 1-0 since that uneven first inning for Joey Volchko. He has struck out 4, allowed just 1 base hit. You see his out distribution so far, the 4 strikeouts, 5 groundouts, 2 flyouts. That tell you anything?
Well, he's found the zone. I mean, he started off with 5 straight balls. We had a couple of errors behind him as well to boot. And it's really amazing Georgia only got out of that first inning, only giving up 1 run. And he's settled in since then, has looked more like himself. But again, with the tax, the toll that took on the pitch count, I really think you got to look for some quick outs here and getting the Florida batters to put it in play soft.
It's hard to ever say Georgia got what they expected, not knowing exactly what expectations were, but certainly he's got to come close to, if not having exceeded the expectations that Georgia had for him as he signed out of Stanford. Last year at Stanford, last year he was 3-4 with 6.01 ERA with the Cardinal. But coming into this year, Baseball America had him as a second-team preseason All-American, so expectations were high. As Kendall leads off the 5th for the Gators. Called strike. It's 0-2.
What a good pitch sequence there. 2-seam moving away from the left-handed batter, and then a backdoor slider. Really, the wide open, can throw whatever you want here. Maybe set it up with a high fastball, or get him to chase something down in the dirt.
0-2. So here in Wes Johnson's 3rd season, do they have the team that can get to Omaha? Certainly offensively, I think they have the chops for that. Pitching-wise, I think the starting pitching's fine, and that's a called strike, and that's going to be another strikeout. That's now 3 of the last 4 batters as Kendall goes down looking.
And Volchko pitching a contact there, and the strikeout just a byproduct of good execution on his pitches there. He does it in 4 pitches. That's more than fine. You just don't want those 3-2 counts where you're battling to try and get a guy to chase.
So Volchko in the number 1 spot, Vigyu, who'll pitch tomorrow, in the number 2 spot, look like they're pretty solid. Who the number 3 guy ends up being, whether that's Ishikawa or somebody else, remains to be seen. But I think where Georgia has really made the biggest improvement in their pitching staff, and Wes Johnson says there's no secret about it, it's in who those guys will be that get the outs in the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, maybe even the 5th inning in a regional.
No doubt about it. I think in years past, they've had good bullpen arms, but not a lot of them. I feel like this year's biggest difference is they do. They have a bounty of different guys they can call on from the bullpen that it might be a who's hot or who's not matchup, whatever it might be metric-wise. I know Wes has got it all kind of figured out on a spreadsheet somewhere out there, but they do have a lot of options that are very good out of that bullpen, more so than the last 2 years.
Yeah, they got 4 guys who they feel like could really use them interchangeably. They could be starting pitchers if they need to be. Ball is tapped foul. And the count now 2-2 to Myers. Matt Scott, Justin Bird, Caden Aoki, Paul Farley.
Yeah, absolutely.
you can expect to see any or all of those guys at some point in this series. Here's the 2-2 pitch from Volchko. Fouled back again to the number 9 hitter.
And you see that good two-strike approach, just seeing the ball deep, fighting it off to the right side, waiting for a mistake. But again, taxing the pitcher's arm. This is one of those where maybe you don't go for the swing and miss. Maybe you go for the soft contact.
2-2 pitch. Called strike 3. Volchko on a roll.
Front door slider right there. Again, just a well-executed pitch. Freezes Myers. Such a difficult pitch as a righty to pull the trigger on. It starts right at you, kind of buckle up, and then it comes back. Gets the inside part of the plate. Great job there by Volchko. Has command on both sides of the plate with that slider today.
He has struck out 4 of the last 5 batters and 6 since that first inning. And that's going to break the streak right there as Kyle Jones gets hit by the pitch. Volchko, 75 total pitches to this point. 48 of them have been strikes.
You look at that strike to ball ratio, and really a lot of those balls came in that first inning when he was just struggling to find the zone.
Here's Surowick. Runner goes, throw down by Jackson, and he is going to be out. Daniel Jackson guns down Kyle Jones. That is the 11th base stealer that Jackson has thrown out this season, and that will end things for the Gators here in the top of the 5th.
Just textbook here from Black, the pick and the tag.
Good as Volchko has been for Georgia, Aiden King has been even better for the Florida Gators.
Yeah, it's been outstanding. Really fastball both sides of the plate, has been working very well, has his off-speed stuff, but the sequencing has been fantastic. Establishing the outside part of the plate early in at-bats and then finishing strong on the inside part. Just the 4 strikeouts.
He has retired all 12 Georgia hitters that he has faced to this point with 4 strikeouts in 4 innings, and he's done it on an economical 51 pitches to this point. And that was one of the big decisions that Sully had to wrestle with there. He said he hates to make changes in his rotation, not just because of the rotation, but because of the domino effect it has on everything else.
Oh yeah,
with the pitching staff. But he felt like it was something that he had to do here, and the fact that King had pitched last Friday night as the number 2 starter set up perfectly for him to be the Friday night starter this week as the number 1 starter, and it has paid extremely well for the Gators so far.
And King's just done a great job at pounding the strike zone. Just 1 3-ball count. It was to Lujo. Went 3-0, came all the way back and got him.
0-1 pitch to Lujo, and that'll be ball number 1. One ball, 1 strike. Up the middle, they've got it played perfectly with the second baseman, Curlin, throwing him out for out number 1. Well, so far the Gators have, when Georgia does put the ball in play, they've had it positioned well. They've played this game very well defensively so far. Came in just 13th out of the 16 teams in the conference in fielding percentage, but they've been flawless so far tonight.
And they're really pitching to the way they're positioned defensively. You've heard me a bunch of times get frustrated with that up here, just in a shift, and you're pitching against the shift, and doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But
so Oriach at the plate. First pitch to him was a strike, and now they move the third baseman Surowick over to behind second base. Fouled into the mitt of Bowen for strike number 2. The main issue for Kevin O'Sullivan with his Gators starting pitching, in particular Peterson, is that ball is hit down the line and out of play, was the fact that Peterson just was not going deep enough into games. He had gone 6 innings just once in conference play against South Carolina the opening weekend when they won. But he was not getting to the 6th inning, which is kind of the standard. That's what O'Sullivan wants from his starting pitching. The 0-2, and Oriach goes down swinging. That's strikeout number 5 for King.
And again, just on 4 pitches, they had the 1 foul ball, but that back foot slider right there. Dangerous pitch to a lefty, but well executed there by King.
Well, here is Henry Allen. Flew out to center his first time up, and you mentioned it already. That was the hardest hit ball by Georgia tonight. 112 off the bat. Takes a big cut right there and misses.
Again, kind of that backup slider that we saw Dan Jackson foul off. It's kind of rode up and in.
Ball 1 to Allen. To which Johnson says he compares Allen to another player who came out of the Mississippi State program, Slade Alford. Did he go? He did. It's 1-2. Slate at Rancho Cucamonga right now, playing single A ball for the Quakes. That's in the Angels organization.
Fun town to say.
1-2 pitch. Hit high in the air to right field. Sir going back to the wall. Right there at the wall has it for out number 3. So Allen has hit it hard and he's hit it far, but both have been outs. Athens to Hoover to Omaha. That is the desired stops along the way for the Georgia Bulldogs. So you take a look at the SEC standings. Georgia in first place at 10-2, followed by Texas in second at 9-3. And how about Alabama, who swept Florida in Tuscaloosa earlier this season? They're third at 8-4, and Mississippi State, Texas A&M, and Vanderbilt all in that 3-way tie for fourth at 7-5. Texas and Texas A&M playing tonight in College Station. I'm sure that'll be very low-key. Right now on the scoreboard, Auburn has a 1-0 lead on Kentucky. Surowick was at the plate when Jones got thrown out trying to steal second to end the 5th inning. So here the Gators bat in the top of the 6th already. Bouncer on the infield, Black with the backhand, whips it across, low throw, and scooped by O'Shaughnessy for out number 1. Here's Bowen batting for the 3rd time, and he has grounded out twice. The last time he hit into a rare 6-4-3 double play for the Gators, just the 22nd double play that they have grounded into this season, which is a low number. It's the 2nd lowest in the SEC. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Hit out of play. 1-1 to Bowen. Gators averaging just 6.9 runs per game. And I say just with that number when you consider that Georgia averages nearly 10 runs per game. But right now they've got the 1-0 lead as they bat here in the top of the 6th. 2-1 pitch, and that's going to be a base hit. Hit number 2 for the Gators tonight. So Bowen aboard. Only 2 total hits so far in this game. Strike 1. Ball one. Gators have won 6 of their last 9 games, but just 6-6 in their last 12. 2-2 in SEC series. 1-1 pitch. Outside 2-1. Swept South Carolina, got swept at Alabama, swept at Arkansas, and then lost last weekend at home 2 out of 3 to Ole Miss. The 2-1 pitch. Line back to the screen, and it's 2-2. Gators have won 8 of the last 11 series with Georgia. But the Bulldogs are 4-2 in the Gators, against the Gators in Wes Johnson's first 2 seasons. 2-2 from Volchko, called strike 3.
Another front door breaking ball right there. Just really commanding that pitch. These righties don't know what to do with it. See how late that breaks. A good job there by Dan Jackson letting that travel, giving Eric Gaucher behind the plate a good long look at it.
So that is 7 strikeouts now for Volchko, and 4 of them have been looking. So 2 down in the inning for Curlin. Do we have a pitch comm issue?
It looks like it. He's pointing. Okay. Says he's got it now.
Just got a tap on it. Called strike to Curlin. Throw back, hit the base runner.
Yeah, not sure. Maybe he got the. He said yes to a pitch he didn't want to throw, because I don't believe Bowen's much for a threat to steal. But got away with one there. Hit him. Looked like it hit him in the spike.
No balls and a strike to Curlin. 2 outs. Bowen aboard at first. 0-1 pitch from Volchko, fouled off. Now the count's 0-2. Volchko looking to finish the inning with a strikeout. Not with that, he won't. And it's 1-2. One ball, 2 strikes. Volchko peeks over his shoulder, now rocks on the mound and fires. Ball 2. Crowd doesn't like it, but that was a ball 2.
Yes, it was.
Two pitch, ball 3, and so now we're full with Curlin at the plate. Next strikeout will match his season high as a Georgia Bulldog. He had 11 as a Stanford pitcher. Ball is hit foul. Had 11 against Santa Clara as a Stanford pitcher. But his previous highs here as a Georgia Bulldog, he had 8 against Samford. He also had 8 against Tennessee. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Runner going on the 3-2 pitch. Again, tap foul by the third base coach, which is Taylor Black, pardon me. Taylor Black, the third base coach, and Mike Rivera, their first base coach. Three balls and two strikes. Runner goes again, and that's going to be ball four. And that'll be the first walk issued for Volchko tonight.
Yep, first one, a couple of HBPs, but just the first walk. And credit Curlin. He fought off some tough pitches there, especially those front door sliders. He kept trying to get them with. Those are the ones you were seeing fouled off to the third base coach. Does a good job, waits out Volchko and earns the walk.
So for the first time since the first inning, the Gators have a runner in scoring position for Stripling.
And that is pitch number 96 for Volchko. I think Wes is going to go out there and kind of let him know, like, hey, you get through this, we got someone coming in there behind you. The difference in efficiency between him and King, both their stuff has been really good.
So Paul Farley just started throwing in the Georgia bullpen. Looked like Volchko was going to get out of that inning, and then things got a little wonky when Curlin drew the walk.
Yeah, no doubt. And a good visit there by Wes. Casual jog, just wanted to settle him down, get him through this. That's tough. 96 pitches in just 5 2/3.
He had a ton of pitches in that first inning. First and second for the Gators. 1-0 count to Stripling. And that's going to be ball two. So how do you lose the strike zone just like that?
Good at bats like that with that Curlin had. I mean, it just kind of taxes you. You get tired. It's not necessarily the pitch count, but how quickly you throw those pitches.
And now it's 3-0, and one more pitch, and the bases will be loaded. One more pitch like that, I should say. Stripling hit by pitch and flew out to center so far tonight. 3 balls and no strikes. Likely take all the way, and that is a taken strike, and it's 3-1.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was a take right here, yeah.
We'll see what the sign is for him. Is he taking again? Volchko taking, and that's going to be ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Back-to-back walks for Volchko after he had not walked any batters so far. And he's now at an even 100 pitches. Facing the bottom of the order here, Stanford, the number 7 hitter who struck out looking his last time up and is 0 for 2 tonight. Strike 1. Packed house on a Friday night in Athens, Georgia to watch the opener of this 3-game series. And the 0-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. And Volchko now in command at 0-2. Stanford at the plate, Stripling at first, Curlin at second, Bowen at third. 0-2 pitch, bouncer, foul.
Gators always known to grind on these their two-strike approach. They don't go quietly very often.
Volchko looks in, no balls, 2 strikes. Popped up and out of play. Set him up and do it again. Bases remain loaded. Count still 0-2. In the air should be the end of the inning as the ball is hit to deep left field. Allen has it for out number 3. Gators leave the bases loaded here in the top of the 6th. Wow, look at that line score. 1 run, 2 hits for the Gators, no runs, no hits for the Bulldogs, and they committed 2 errors in the first inning that led to the 1 run being scored in this game. We head to the bottom of the 6th and what has been a crazy good pitchers duel so far between Aiden King and Joey Volchko. Ishikawa leads off the inning. Ball 1. It's the 1-0 pitch in the air and out of play. Matt Stewart and Jason Jacobs, thanks for joining us tonight for the series opener. Here's the 1-1 pitch. Ishikawa shows bunt, takes strike 2.
I don't think King took too kindly to that this late in the game, but it is a 1-run ball game. I do feel like if you're going to give it to him, take it. Third baseman playing way back, but 2 strikes now.
And that is going to be called strike 3. So you're implying that he was upset because Georgia doesn't have any hits and he was going to try to bunt his way on?
He was shaking his head. This is a great pitch, though. Again, finishing the at-bat late on the inside part. Really has good command both sides of the plate, away from arm side and on arm side. And King just putting on a display of pitching.
I mean, I've heard that kind of stuff before, but
Yeah.
I mean, the goal is to try to win the game.
Yeah, 1-run ball game, absolutely.
And we're in the bottom of the 6th. We're not in the bottom of the 9th.
Correct. Even if it was bottom of the 9th, 1-run ball game, you represent the tying run. You get on however you can. And I just saw, a little head shake when he came off to cover his position.
It's Colby Branch. Ball hit to the shortstop. Easy hop for Myers. Hop and a throw, 2 down. Here's Ryan Black. He becomes the 18th man to bat for Georgia tonight. And the first 17 have all returned to the dugout with nothing. Strike to Black. A 1 pitch from King. Strike 2 to Black. Wow, Aiden King has been a machine tonight.
Strike throwing machine. Again, both sides of the plate, up and down, just putting on a display. It's going to be tough.
Bouncer on the infield. And King gets over to cover the first base bag to get him. And again, the Bulldogs go 3 up, 3 down. Still a bagel up there for Georgia as we head to the 7th. Top of the 7th inning, we have new pitcher Joey Volchko. 6 innings, 2 hit ball, 7 strikeouts, 2 walks, 2 hit batters. Gave up 1 run, it was unearned.
And it was that slider. Once he found command of that on both sides of the plate, the ability to throw it front door to the righties. He just really nasty. Just that tough first inning, finding the zone, a couple of errors behind him, but a great outing for Volchko.
Yeah, look at the line score. 1 run, 2 hits for the Gators. No runs, no hits for Georgia. 2 errors, and those 2 errors were costly as it led to the Gators' only run. That scored in the first. And here's Paul Farley on the pitch for Georgia. Sophomore right-hander out of Mount Perrin Christian in Kennesaw. making his 13th appearance.
Yeah, Farley, kind of that go-to guy out of the bullpen. You feel like he's almost a long relief type of guy. Can go the distance. Fastball's going to be 90 to 95. Got a cutter, slider, curveball, and a changeup to accompany that. But, you know, another guy throws a lot of strikes. Calls his own game as you see him signaling the pitch in to the catcher.
Kendall, Myers, and Jones due up for the Gators here in the top of the 7th. Strike one from Farley. Full night of action in the Southeastern Conference. Everybody's underway now, I think. Maybe the Texas A&M game hasn't started yet. I think that might be the only one that's not started just yet. Auburn's jumped out to a 6-0 lead on Kentucky, and Oklahoma's leading Vanderbilt 5-1. That's game 2 of that series. Commodores won the series opener last night. 0-2 pitch. One ball and 2 strikes to Kendall, who has struck out twice tonight. Those were both Volchko. In fact, Volchko struck out Kendall and Myers. The 8 and 9 hitters had combined 4 times for 4 of his 7 strikeouts came at the bottom of the order. 1-2 pitch, line drive out of play. Hit off the screen, pardon me. But not playable. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Georgia entered the game averaging 10.7 strikeouts per game this season as a pitching staff. That puts them on pace with some postseason games to perhaps break the school record, which they set a year ago, to 636. Last year they averaged 10.6 strikeouts per game, and this year 10.7. 2-2 pitch from Farley. Hit to the third baseman. Phelps playing in the shortstop hole, throws him out. Here's Colt Myers. Ball 1 to Myers. He has struck out looking both times he's been up there tonight. And again, the Gators playing without their star shortstop for the 4th consecutive game. Brendan Lawson not in the lineup after being listed as a game time decision. Ground ball hit the branch, and the ball gets away from O'Shaughnessy. O'Shaughnessy had to stretch for it, but it looked like it certainly was a throw that should have been caught. That'll be a 3rd error on Georgia.
Yeah, it sails a little bit on Branch, a little up and arm side, deep in the hole. You mentioned it, it looked very catchable. He's off the bag, though. Yeah. I think that was a little bit.
That's a bad throw. It's going to be an
E6 than I thought, yeah. Wow.
Doesn't happen very often, but Branch has committed 2 errors tonight. And Georgia has committed 3. They've been near the top of the fielding percentage rankings for the entire nation all season long. Kyle Jones takes ball 1. Hit by pitch twice in this game and grounded out. And that's going to be a base hit, number 3 for the Gators tonight. Jones is aboard, 1st and 2nd for the Gators as they try to add to their 1-0 lead here in the top of the 7th.
Yeah, back-to-back innings, getting runner in scoring position. Farley got that first out, which makes things a lot easier to navigate. But back to the top of the order for Florida. They got a little something going here. With the way King's pitching, you feel like every run across is going to be huge.
I've always found this time of the night tough to see a little bit because it's dusk. You've lost the sunlight, but it's not dark enough really for the lights to kind of take over in full force. The lights are on, of course. Here's Surwick. Runner goes and safe at third. Myers took advantage of that ball on the ground. And now runners at the corners for the Gators.
Yeah, great read by Myers. As soon as he sees this thing on a downward trajectory, you can see him take off right as it's hitting the dirt. And even though Dan Jackson kept it close, no play.
So the Gators now have a runner at third. They're number 1 in the SEC in sacrifice flies, number 15 in the country with 21 of them. So Surwick will be looking for something that he can lift into the outfield here. He takes that for ball number 2.
You feel like if the count provides too, you might get a little hit and run going. Stay out of that double play, put something on the ground, guarantee that run scores.
Surwick, despite the fact the Gators have 21 sac flies, he doesn't have any. Here's the 2-0 pitch, and that's going to be ball 3. Three balls, no strikes. Farley in a jam here in the top of the 7th. Aoki in the bullpen for Georgia. 3-0, swung on and missed. 92-mile-per-hour fastball from Farley to make it 3-1.
3-0 green light right there. A lot of respect. A lot of respect for Farley, that is. Thinking this might be the best pitch you get to hit, to execute.
3 balls and a strike to Surwick, who's been their best hitter in conference play. And that's going to be ball 4, and the bases are loaded for the Gators here in the top of the 7th.
Wes is going to get out there and have a little talk with Farley. Mentioned Aoki getting going in the bullpen. Kind of a long walk, like he's trying to let Aoki get a little hot, you know?
Yep.
Okay, double plays in order. Aoki's a ground ball type pitcher, not a swing and miss guy. Farley a little bit more of the swing and miss stuff. He's going to stick with him.
So Kevin O'Sullivan takes this opportunity to go out there and whisper something to Bowen, batting with the bases loaded.
I'm surprised, I mean, again, with the way King's pitching, I wouldn't, O'Shaughnessy playing back, I think I'd have him up on the corner trying to cut the run down at the plate. Got good speed at third.
George is going to play back and try to turn a double play right here.
Yeah, that's a tough one, the old 3-6-3, but right-handed batter. I'm just thinking the nubber, you can get that force out at home.
Bowen is 1 for 3 tonight. Strike 1.
Florida dugout thought that was a bit down. Gaucher's been consistent.
Yep, he's been consistent with that pitch. Farley pitching, bases loaded for the Gators. And that's going to be ball 1.
Now the Georgia fans are upset. Ball stayed a little up in arm side, but it looked like it hung on the plate. I'm not sure up and down. Maybe a little high. Definitely not a place you want to miss if you're Farley, though, with the bases loaded. The batter looking to lift something to the outfield.
Myers at third, Jones at second, Surwick at first. Outside, 2-1. The natives are getting restless, as they like to say. Two-one pitch, swing and a miss.
89 on the cutter right there away. See the concerted effort by Bowen to try and lift it to the outfield.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Base hit to right field. That's going to score Myers. They're going to hold Jones at third, and it's now 2-0 Florida as Bowen comes through with an RBI single to right.
And a good piece of hitting there. Just good 2-strike approach, seeing the slider deep. See it backed up a little bit, stayed arm side on Farley. It was meant to be a chase pitch, so a little mistake. Bowen able to take advantage of it. And those big knocks always seem to come the other way.
So here's Blake Sear with the bases loaded. Struck out looking his last time up. Farley to Sear, outside, 1-0. Sear reached on an error, scoring the only run up until just a moment ago back in the first inning. Also grounded out in the third. Returning to the lineup tonight after sitting out the last game of that Ole Miss series after running into the wall, catching a fly ball against the Rebels. 2-0 win. That was the only win they got in the weekend. They let one get away from them on Saturday as it looked like they were poised to win 2 out of 3 in the series. Farley 2-0 pitch to Sear. And that ball is driven towards the gap, and that's trouble for Georgia. Gonna bounce off the wall. 1 run in. Here comes another, and here comes a third. Throw to the plate is way offline. It is a bases clearing double for Blake Sear as 3 runs cross the plate, and Florida has blown this game open.
Kind of pitched himself into a hole there, falling behind 2-0's. Got to come with the fastball. Sear does a great job, again, not trying to do too much. Uses that backside, drives one into the gap, and that's a huge knock. Florida still just with 1 out.
4 runs in the inning. Florida now leads at 5-0. Here's Curlin. Strike 1 to Curlin. For Sear, that's his 9th double of the season. RBI 26, 27, and 28. They're big ones. Put Florida in position here to perhaps win the opener of this series. Caught by Branch. Out number 2.
Farley's not fooling them right now. They're pretty locked in, laying off the close pitches that this crowd's getting upset about, but they are balls. Finding themselves in good hitters count, squaring them up. Right now, Farley's got to make a switch a little bit. Hadn't thrown too many fastballs, really throwing a lot of cutters and breaking balls.
Stripling becomes the 8th man to bat in the inning. And strike 1 to Stripling. Been on base twice tonight, hit by pitch in the first and walked in the 6th. Flew out to center, sandwiched in between all that. Farley to the plate. Inside. Jackson has to block it. Scurry to make sure it doesn't get by him. Counts 1-1. Three hits for the Gators in the inning. Pitch outside, so more hits in this inning for the Gators than both teams combined in the first 6 innings of the game. Two balls and a strike. Missed inside, 3-1. Georgia 5-1 here at home in the SEC, 22-5 overall at Foley Field, but Florida got them on the ropes right now. 3-1 pitch, line drive, foul ball down into the right field corner.
And the Gators just very patient at the plate, finding themselves in hitters' counts. Farley just a little bit too fine early on. Got ahead 0-1 with a great fastball and missed on the next 3 pitches.
3 balls and 2 strikes. Tapped foul again. That's Coach Rivera. Blake Sears standing down there at second base, man of the hour for the Gators with a bases loaded, bases clearing double to blow this game open. Three-two pitch. Popped up. Let's see if it stays playable. It will not. Farley toes the rubber, looks in, 3 balls, 2 strikes. Again fouled out of play off the bat of Stripling. Wind it up and do it again. 3-2. Ball hit in the air to center field. Lujo giving chase back to the track, back to the wall. Lujo jumps, and it's gone. Home run. Logan Stripling, the young man out of Parkview High School, just blast a 2-run homer for the Gators to put Florida up 7-0.
And a great at-bat there by Stripling. I mean, again, just spoiled. Get something out over. Farley just kept executing, and kept spoiling them until finally he got one up in the zone, and that's going to be it for Farley.
So Wes Johnson coming out to make the pitching change after the 3-2 hammer dropped by Logan Stripling on the blast to straightaway center field.
And Lujo did everything he could to try and get that ball deep part of the park too. Just not quite enough.
Stripling with just his 2nd home run of the season, RBI 5 and 6. And his first home run in conference play, and a big one against the home state team as he knocks Farley out of the game and gives Florida a 7-0 lead here in the 7th. So Ellison will be the new pitcher for Georgia as Farley gives up 6 runs in the inning, 3 of them earned. Thomas Ellison, the graduate right-hander, and a transfer from UConn, on to pitch for the Dogs. As this one's gotten away from him, and Florida leads this one 7-0.
Yeah, and Ellison getting an opportunity here in some SEC play. Fastball is going to be 92 to 95. A cutter, curveball, and slider to accompany that. But you got to give a lot of credit to the Gators of being very opportunistic, scoring runs in both innings. Georgia made errors, putting up a crooked number here in the top of the 7th. But great approaches with 2 strikes, a couple of big at-bats that they were able to win to blow this thing open. And really, the only defense against their approach, 2 strikes, is going hard in. I think you saw Volchko able to front door a couple of breaking balls there, get his strikeouts. Farley just unable to get in on these Florida hitters.
Here's the 2-0 to Stanford. That's going to be ball 3. This is just the second conference appearance for Ellison out of his 9 total. Stanford's the 9th man to bat in the inning. And it really all started to unravel after that 1-out error by Branch.
Costly error on a seemingly routine ground ball.
Should have been the second out of the inning.
And he just sailed it a little bit.
And it all snowballed from there. There's a cold strike. 3-2 now to Stanford. Ellison trying to get his guys off the field. They've been out there a long time.
Yeah, it makes you think Kingsman's sitting down for quite some time as well.
Oh my goodness, that ball is hit deep to left field, and that might be out of here, and it is. Back-to-back home runs off different pitchers as Stanford feeds the trees. It's 8-0. Wow, things have gotten out of hand here in Athens as Stanford belts his 6th home run of the season, RBI number 14.
They just get into that fastball mode when you fall behind in the count.
And just his 2nd home run in conference play, and now an 8-0 lead for Florida as they've officially batted around in this inning. Kendall at the plate. He started the inning with a very benign ground out to Phelps, but it's all gone downhill for Georgia since then. 0-1 pitch. Ball 1, 1-1. Ball hit to O'Shaughnessy, and that will finally be the final out of the inning. We'll go to the 7th inning stretch, a much different game than the inning that we started. 8-0 Florida. Aiden King through 6 innings of work, 6 strikeouts, and all zeros. Yep, he's got a no-hitter going as we go to the bottom of the 7th.
And he's just been outstanding. Both sides of the plate really has had all 4 pitches working. Curious to see how he comes out. It was a very long inning on offense for Florida. And by no stretch of the imagination, with the explosiveness of this Georgia offense, is this game over? It's definitely looking bleak the way King is pitching. But they're going to have Trey Phelps leading off here in the 7th inning, 9 outs remaining for the Dogs.
Phelps, Jackson, O'Shaughnessy due up, and that'll be the first hit of the night for Georgia.
Gets the crowd involved a little bit. It definitely had quieted down after that long top of the 7th inning. Trey Phelps gets the first knock of the game, breaks up the perfect game. First base runner to reach for Georgia here in the bottom of the 7th.
So Phelps aboard for Daniel Jackson. Defensive changes for the Gators here in the bottom of the 7th. Sear has gone from right to left, and Yost has taken over in right. Strike to Jackson makes it 1-1. Jackson fouls that back, and it's 1-2. Aiden King has had 4 scoreless starts out of his 8 total and gone at least 6 innings in every one of them. Ball hit in the air to center field, and Jones has it for out number 1.
And this is that light you were talking about, kind of the
you
twilight.
really got to track that ball off the bat.
Nothing is guaranteed. Got Jackson out there off his front foot. Took a little something off that pitch, probably the splitter. But again, Georgia, if they can answer back here, I mean, as well as King's pitching, if they can get a little something going, get a little answer, maybe get into that Florida bullpen. King just at 76 pitches.
O'Shaughnessy is 0 for 2 tonight. And a 3-game homer streak coming in takes strike 1. Kobe Brandt said that O'Shaughnessy had been telling him once he gets in the lineup, he's not coming out. And the way he's been playing lately has kind of forced Wes Johnson's hand, so to speak, to keep him in the lineup every game.
That backside power, I mean, that's pretty impressive. You see a big lefty, and you know Foley Field's got a short porch to right, but he'll take you out of the yard the other way just as easily as he'll go pull side.
Yeah, his last 2 home runs, the last one he hit at Mississippi State and the one he hit Tuesday against Presbyterian, both opposite field homers to left field. 0-2 pitch, little nubber down the third baseline, but going to kick foul.
See King just such good command on that inside part of the plate with the fastball. Now he's got him really set up for anything here, 0-2. Doesn't waste any time, and even when he does his setup pitches 0-2, in that case, that would have been a called strike. So he doesn't venture out of the zone. He just gets very fine in the zone.
No balls and 2 strikes to O'Shaughnessy. Phelps aboard at first with Georgia's first hit of the night. Ball hit high in the air to center field. Jones looks like he's got it tracked. And he does for out number 2. So 2 down here in the bottom of the 7th. Gators perhaps eyeing their 8th shutout of the season, number 1 in the country in that category. As you see, King's at 80 total pitches. Gators also number 7 in the country, averaging 11.6 strikeouts per 9 innings. They're 10th in the country in strikeout to walk ratio. And we started the night asking that age-old baseball question, which wins, better pitching or better hitting?
Oh, yeah.
And so far tonight, it's been the better pitching.
And King has just been masterful. Really has. You got to think back to Tuesday, too. The Dogs put up 28. You know, they were hot fire.
Here's Lujo. Hits that one opposite field and out of play. Lujo went 5 for 12 in that Mississippi State series with a couple of doubles, hit his 5th home run of the season, and had 5 RBI in that 3-game road sweep for Georgia. It was the first time since 2004 the Bulldogs have swept Mississippi State in Starkville. 0-1 bouncer to the third baseman. Surwick will throw him across and get him out. And the Bulldogs, though they pick up their first hit, are retired here in the 7th. Florida on top, 8-0. Gators blowing the game open with 6 runs in the top of the 7th. And now the Bulldogs go to their 4th man, 3rd man out of the bullpen. Luke Wiltrakis, who showed us 99 with his fastball in Tuesday's win against Presbyterian. Obviously impressed Coach Wes Johnson because he has not made an SEC appearance this season. Only 3 overall, only 2. This is his 3rd, and this will be his 1st in conference play.
And Wiltrakis, 92 to 95, as you mentioned, has a little bit more in the tank than that. A fastball, slider, and a changeup. So 3-pitch guy again, getting some work here in SEC play.
I remember when we were working that game on Tuesday, and I saw that 99,
oh,
and I
yeah.
immediately looked at you. I said, "Was that right?"
Yeah, he's got it in there for sure. And again, got an opportunity in a blowout game, Georgia being on the other end.
So Luke Will Tracus, the redshirt sophomore out of Sandy Springs there in the Atlanta area, and pitched at St. Pius, was a member of that Golden Lions baseball team. Will pitch here to start the 8th. Myers hits this one on the ground to Black, and Ryan Black flips it on to first for out number 1. We'll see if Brendan Wasson will be able to get back in the lineup tomorrow when these two teams convene again at noon on ESPN. Dave Neal and Lance Cormier will have the call tomorrow. There's Kyle Jones. So tomorrow's game is on ESPN2. If you're flipping through the channels and looking for it at noon on Saturday. Ball is hit out of play. Count is 1-1 to Jones. He's been on base 3 different times today. Hit by a pitch twice, and then singled and scored in that big 6-run 7th inning for the Gators. Making a triumphant return to the Athens area. Played for North Oconee, powerhouse baseball program here in the state of Georgia. North Oconee, a suburb of Athens. Titans went 73-6 while he was there and won state championships his junior and senior season. Line drive out of play. Will Tracus got him. 2 down in the inning.
Yeah, you see the split finger right there.
And that thing fell off the table.
The downward action. That split didn't tumble as much as it rotated more like a changeup. See how answer your question earlier. 2 types of splits. You got your tumbler, you got one right there. It just falls off the bottom almost like a split change.
Serwick. He walked in that 7th inning. Had a single back in the 3rd, the first hit of the night for the Gators. They now have 7 total. Here's the 1-0 pitch. Missed low, 2-0. Transfer from Ole Miss, native of Gulfport, Mississippi. Got a .603 slugging percentage in his last 15 games since going 0 for 4 against South Carolina in their SEC opener. 3-0, and that's a strike, 3-1. LSU and Ole Miss are tied at 2 in the 2nd inning. No doubt a raucous affair. And ball 4, and Serwick's aboard. Here's Carson Bowen. Bowen has 2 of their 7 hits tonight. Single in the 6th, and then again in the 7th. The RBI single in the 7th kind of led to the floodgates opening up.
That got it going. That was a huge clutch single the other way with 2 strikes.
Ball 1 to Bowen.
See some of the inconsistency with Will Tracus. Probably why he hasn't gotten more innings here. He's in the zone, and then he's just kind of out of the zone.
Bowen picked up his 6th multi-hit game of the season already tonight. Ball bounces away from Jackson, and Serwick will be at second. Jackson out there to get on the same page with Will Tracus. Bowen hit .308 with 16 home runs in his 3 seasons at TCU. 2-0. Ball squibs away from Jackson, and Serwick will go to third. From the very get-go, this has been an uncharacteristic game for Georgia, just not sharp in the field.
Not terribly sharp. Second 3-0 count here from Will Tracus after just looking excellent right there. You could see that just kept running away from Jackson. A little inconsistency on the fastball movement. That had a lot of arm side run.
Strike to Bowen makes it 3-1. And that's ball 4. Runners at the corners for the Gators. Here's Blake Sear, and I don't think Will Tracus will face him as Coach Wes Johnson out of the dugout making that slow walk.
Yeah, he's already pointed down to make the change.
I think this is going to be Zach Brown entering the game for Georgia, as Will Tracus gets his first chance to pitch in SEC play and cannot make it out of the 8th. Zach Brown becomes the 5th pitcher used by Georgia tonight as he comes in for Will Tracus here in the 8th inning. Junior out of Santa Ana, California, and a transfer from Ohio State, making his 8th appearance, but just his 2nd appearance in conference play.
Yeah, 4-pitch mix guy, got the sinker, cutter, slider, changeup. Ground ball pitcher, pitches to contact. Again, not too much SEC work, but I think that has more to do with the Bird, Farley, Aoki connection than really his stuff. He pitches well, throws a lot of strikes, and again, pitches to contact. I think it matches well with Florida and how they fight off 2-strike pitches so well.
Yeah, and this game has gotten out of hand for Georgia, and now Sear steps up there after clobbering a 3-run bases-loaded double his last time up. They got this game within the sights and perhaps run-ruling Georgia here tonight. They can get another big hit. Swing and a miss Sear, and it's 0-1. Far from where we thought this game was going not too long ago, as we went to the 7th inning in a 1-0 game and Georgia having been no hit. Georgia has picked up a hit, but the Gators blew the game open with 6 runs in the 7th inning.
That's just the way it works out too. Volchko was great. That taxing first inning just got him out early, and Florida was able to get to the bullpen.
0-2 from Zach Brown outside, same pitch, this time different result. 1 and 2, same location, I should say. Zach Brown, couple of wins this year against USC Upstate in Oakland, back in non-conference play. And the 1-2 from Zach Brown, breaking ball, called strike 3. And the inning comes to a close with 2 aboard for the Gators. Heading to the bottom of the 8th, Florida on top, 7-0. 8-0, pardon. Heading to the bottom of the 8th, and Florida on top of this one, 8-0. Georgia tonight, 1 hit. That came off the bat of Trey Phelps to lead off the 7th inning, or the bottom of the 7th inning to be precise. Struck out 6 times. They've only left 1 man on base. That's the only man they've had on base. Season low in hits and runs, obviously. Prior to tonight, the fewest runs they'd scored in a game were 3. And still being shut out right now by Aiden King. Oriach, Allen, and Ishikawa due up for Georgia here in the bottom of the 8th. Matt Stewart, Jason Jacobs, thanks for joining us for the series opener. Next few games will be noon starts here in Athens on Saturday and Sunday. Tomorrow, ESPN2, and Sunday on the SEC Network linear channel. And that's in there for a strike, and it's 0-2. And again, the shift where they pull the third baseman Suriak behind the. That ball is struck well to left field, and it'll be caught just shy of the track by Sear for out number 1. Here's Henry Allen. 0 for 2. Everybody wearing that 0 for collar except for Trey Phelps.
It really has hit the ball better than anyone else in the Georgia lineup. And that first at bat had the line out to dead center, and then the deep fly out in the second at bat. So it seems to be seeing the ball better than anyone else. Trey Phelps obviously with the 1 hit.
1-0 pitch to Allen. Did he go? He did.
Of course, Colby Branch had a hard hit line out to left as well, and that's just about it. Everything else has been soft contact.
Pitch missed inside. Aiden King in his first start as the Gators' #1 starting pitcher in the weekend series has been masterful. Wins this season against UAB, Kennesaw State, South Carolina, and Ole Miss. Against the Gamecocks, he had a career-high 9 strikeouts. He's at 6 strikeouts here tonight against the Bulldogs.
And just a second 3-ball count in this game. Here to Henry Allen.
Three-one pitch. There's a strike, 3-2. And I mean, this is exactly what Kevin O'Sullivan envisioned when he decided to make that flip in the order and start King in game 1 and Peterson in game 2. He has not had to go to the bullpen, at least not yet tonight. And Allen draws a walk, just the second base runner for Georgia. Kenny Ishikawa. We do have some activity in the bullpen. Ricky Reith, who's just now coming back from a shoulder injury. Transfer from Notre Dame, is up and working in the Gators bullpen right now. One pitch missed inside, 1-1. 2-1 to Ishikawa. Ishikawa has been Georgia's Game 3 starter in conference play. Georgia not yet committed to announcing him as the Game 3 starter in this series. The count's now 3-1.
King losing it just a little bit. First time we've really seen him not look comfortable, like he was cruising.
He's approaching 100 pitches. I believe, I'd have to look, but off the top of my head, I think 95 has been his season high, and that's where he is right now. And that's going to be ball 4. 93 was his previous high, so he's now over his previous high.
That's going to bring
at 96, and Kevin O'Sullivan, after the consecutive walks issued by King, Kevin O'Sullivan will pay a visit.
It's a slow walk.
Kevin O'Sullivan is no doubt thinking it's a lot better to be visiting my starting pitcher in the bottom of the 8th with an 8-0 lead than having to go out there and get him in the 4th or the 5th, which has kind of been the case on these series openers in conference play this year. Hence the reason he made the flip in the starting rotation lineup.
He had a good opportunity to kind of stretch King out a little bit. You mentioned a season high in pitch count. See what he can do, a little fatigued. How far can he go? Still donut up there for Georgia, but big knock away here from getting a little something going with the last 5 outs they have.
They would no doubt love to stay out of the bullpen tonight. This is short a man, a big loss with Barbary out with that oblique injury. Projected to be out 4 weeks, so he's not returning, if that projection is correct, until late in conference play. First pitch to Branch is a ball 1. That ball in the air and out of play as the crowd tries to pick up the Bluebell Park chant. Chant and start with the ball 1. Ball 1's not too bad, but when you get the ball 7 or 8, it's a little unnerving, isn't it?
Oh boy, I've heard 12.
Oh, wow.
That's unnerving.
Yeah. That's ball 2 right there. King, this will be pitch number 100. Fouled out of play.
You really got to appreciate King. I mean, he almost gets frustrated at himself if he executes a strike. The way he gets the ball back, he's just that precise, and he's got it tonight.
2 balls and 2 strikes. In the air over on the left side of the infield.
Should be an infield fly.
Meyer on the infield fly has it. 2 down in the inning. So this Gators starting rotation, at least the King part of it looks great. We'll see how Peterson performs tomorrow in game 2. Sandifer has been really good for them as well as the number 3 starter since they moved him from the midweeks to the 3rd man in the weekend rotation. And Cooper Walls, who had been their number 3 starter, they moved him to the midweek, and he pitched well in their victory against Florida State on Tuesday. Black takes a big hack and miss. So if the Gators can win this, they will get to 8-5 in the SEC. And will pull to within 2 games of the Bulldogs in the SEC conference race. Georgia in first place right now with a game lead on Texas pending the outcome of this one in the Longhorns game at Texas A&M. Black swings and misses. One ball and 2 strikes to Ryan Black with 2 aboard here in the 8th. Black sends this one down the line in left field. Might be trouble. Long run, sliding in foul territory. Unable to come up with the catch is Sear. Made a great effort after that. And they'll reset the table and do it again. Count 1 and 2. So a loss here tonight for Georgia would put in jeopardy their string of winning SEC series. They'd have to win the next 2 to do that. Georgia has won their first 4 SEC series. It's the first time they've done that since 2019, and no Georgia team since the 2008 College World Series national finalist team won their first 5. That's the last time it happened for Georgia. 1-2, again hit down the line in left field. This time gonna drift into the seats. Actually gonna drift far enough to hit the overhang.
Yeah, they're a stranger to it, though. Tennessee, they dropped the first game of that series, able to come back and win the series in game 2 and 3, so.
Yeah, that's the only time they've had to do that this year. One, 2, again hit the left field, long run for Sear, and the shortstop Meyer, and Sear's gonna not be able to get to it. That's a fair ball. Run's gonna score for Georgia, 2 runs gonna score for Georgia. Ball comes into the infield, and Black is safe at third. Boy, that ball was hit perfectly down the left field line into no man's land, and Sear just couldn't get to it.
Yeah, very similar to the ball we saw Henry Allen in the first inning drop. That one was overrun. Long way to go. Black, that ball hung up in the air for so long. And that's going to do it for King. A great job by him. Wonderful outing. Really,
Sear looked like he snapped his glove at it and thought he had it, I thought.
Yeah, bounced
just behind. I think he was surprised that he didn't catch it. And that's going to do it for King on what has been a fabulous night for him on this Friday night. And he'll leave with Black at third base and 2 runs in, and the Gators leading 8-2. Seven 2/3, and then up until a few moments ago was pitching a shutout. Carried a no-hitter to the 7th inning. Struck out 6 tonight. Gave up just 2 hits.
He was phenomenal, and you know, just kind of a little bit of misfortune there. Black just hit him where no one could get to it. Gets Georgia on the board, gets him out of the game. I think the Dogs are breathing a sigh of relief. Aiden King was just fantastic. Fastball both sides of the plate, had command of all 4 pitches, had it all working. A fantastic outing.
So Ricky Reith making just his 6th appearance of the season and his first in the SEC. He's been out with a shoulder injury, so he's back as of tonight. 2-0 record, 3.00 ERA, a transfer from Notre Dame after starring at West Orange High School.
Yeah, he's a 2-seam changeup slider guy. 2-seam's going to sit there in the low 90s. Changeup and slider going to be in the low 80s. But really just deceptive delivery, hides the ball very well, looks to use his action to induce a ground ball, and he'll be facing Trey Phelps.
Phelps, who picked up Georgia's first hit of the night, leading off the 7th. Bats here in the 8th with Black down at third base. Just the 2nd triple of the season for Georgia. Black on a ball placed perfectly down that left field line, scoring Alan Ishikawa to make it 8-2.
I like that from Reith, the quick delivery, and then he pulls the string with the changeup on a 1-0 count.
And Phelps says that hitting, they wanted to challenge that. He's already taken off his batting glove. He's convinced he got hit. mean, he's already taken the armor off. He's convinced that he got hit by that pitch. And he's been hit by 20 pitches this year.
Georgia's challenge, the no hit by pitch. This is their first challenge.
So Trey Phelps leads the country in hit by pitch. He's been hit by pitch, like I said, 20 times. And he is 8 away from the record that Corey Collins set a couple of years ago for the single season. So what do you think?
Well, he was pointing to his back knee, so.
Yeah, looks like it's hard to tell right there because his front leg obscures the look, and certainly that's a more difficult angle right there. There's nothing that.
I don't see a whole lot of movement from the clothing. Maybe a little nick there on the back side, but it's tough to tell for sure. He immediately points to it.
Yeah, I don't know that he's going to win this challenge. They're telling him, get out of the batter's box. We're making our decision here. The first angle that we saw, you might be able to assume that he did, but of course that won't do any good when it comes to a replay. And right there, maybe a slight change in the trajectory of the baseball, maybe a little bit, but I don't know that there's going to be enough video evidence to support this challenge.
They're taking a long look at it.
Trey Phelps is kind of an expert on getting hit by pitch. I don't know. We'll wait and see what
It
happens.
might be the easiest one if it turns out to be a hit by pitch that he's ever taken.
All right, here's the Hawkeye look at it. Yeah, again, it does look like there's a slight change in the trajectory, but I don't know if that's going to hold up under video review.
Taking a good long look at it.
They are. Either that or they went out to lunch, dinner, and they're just now getting back.
This game was kind of cruising along there for a while with Volchko and
After
King.
review, the batter was not hit with the ball. The count is 2-1. Georgia has one challenge remaining.
Wow. Okay. So Trey has to get back in there. Yeah, I didn't think there was any video evidence to support it, whether he got hit or not. And that's going to be a line drive back up the middle, positioned perfectly by the second baseman, who throws him out for the final out of the inning. Again, I commented on it early. The Gators have really played good defense in positioning themselves against these Georgia batters. Things got crazy in the 7th inning. 1-0, and Georgia no hit at that point, and then the Gators blew it open. 7 runs in the inning. And here was the big one coming up.
Yeah, that was
the big one right there.
That was a
Before
two-run blast
Yeah.
by Stripling to get Sear in, who hit the 3-run double. And then after a pitching change, the solo shot by Stanford.
So we've reached the top of the ninth. Gators in command, 8-0. Zach Brown back out there pitching for Georgia. On strike one. Curlin at the plate. Oh, 1 pitch to Curlin, fouled it off his leg.
Oof. That was high up on the thigh. Maybe the upper calf, but oof. Did not get that piece of equipment he's got on his left leg.
So it'll be interesting tomorrow. The Gators 8-2 lead for Florida here in the top of the ninth. It'll be interesting tomorrow. They'll be in position, barring a huge Georgia comeback in the bottom of the ninth, be in position to win the series, and they'll send Liam Peterson out there as their starting pitcher.
Yeah, and the way Florida pitches, I mean, you get a lead like this, it's just so tough because they really don't hurt themselves. They throw a ton of strikes. They force you to beat them.
It's going to be a foul ball. Dylan Vigue will be on the mound for Georgia tomorrow, as the Bulldogs will try to even up the series. Noon start, ESPN2.
And it's curious too. Like, Georgia's kind of gotten into this rhythm of rolling guys back around out of the bullpen that have pitched on Friday. Obviously haven't used any of their big dogs. I mean, Farley, I guess, would be available. He'd be the one that you might roll back around, but you know, Bird has pitched Friday and Sunday of a series.
Yeah, last weekend, Scott and Aoki pitched twice.
That's right.
In a series for the first time all season at Mississippi State. Called strike 3. Zach Brown strikes out Curlin to start the ninth.
Yeah, so it'll be really interesting. Dogs haven't been in this position, like I mentioned, losing the opener to Tennessee, but a great front door slider. That seems to have been the most effective pitch, both for Volchko and here for Brown. He got the strikeout last inning on a front door slider as well. And again, I just think that's the only thing that two-strike approach for Florida doesn't defend against, is that inside pitch.
10 total strikeouts for Georgia pitchers tonight, which is their per-game average, 10.7 to be precise. Landon Stripling at the plate. Hit a big 2-run homer. The former Parkview High School star, no doubt a big moment for him, going up against the home state team and clubbing one out of here. Big piece of that 7-run 7th inning for Florida. .2-0 pitch outside, and it's 3-0. Yeah, Georgia won 2 out of 3 from Tennessee. You mentioned they lost the opener, came back and won the next 2. That's the only time they've done that in a series this season, because they won 2 out of 3 at Texas A&M. Won the first 2 games of that series. Swept South Carolina 3-0 and swept Mississippi State 3-0. 3-1 pitch. Swing and a miss. Took something off at that time, and it's 3-2. Pitch, tap foul. Also in the midst of all this, if Georgia doesn't homer in the bottom of the ninth, it'll be just the 7th game all season in which they've not hit a home run.
Yeah, the only SEC game that they didn't record when it was that Sunday game against South Carolina. They came from behind without benefit of a home run.
Yep. That's the only game they've played or won this season without a home run. They're 2-3 when hitting just 1 home run. They are 25-3 when hitting 2+ home runs. So Stripling aboard following the walk. Here's Stanford, who also homered in that 7th inning. Ball 1. Florida, on the other hand, has not been a big home run hitting team this season, even though they have hit 2 of them here tonight. They were 12th out of the 16 teams with 42, now up to 44 with their 2 long balls this evening. Zach Brown, 1-1 pitch to Stanford. Again, off speed, got him swinging through it. It's 1-2.
So many tools for Zach Brown. Just got to get ahead of hitters. Fell behind 3-0 to Stripling, but here ahead in the count.
Got him again by changing speeds.
And again with the front door slider. This one looked like a little bit of a mistake. I think he was trying to get it away from arm side, but see Dan Jackson set up away, and that one kind of backs up, but effectively enough. Again, with this two-strike approach, that's the best chance at getting them out.
So now 2 down in the inning for Kendall. This is Yost, pardon me. Yost is subbed in for Kendall here. That's when they made the switch, sending Sear to left field from right. And Yost came in and played right and took Kendall's spot in the batting order. So Yost batting for the first time. Yost hits that to O'Shaughnessy, and that will be the final out of the inning. We head to the bottom of the ninth. Georgia down to their final 3 outs. Bottom of the ninth here in Athens, and the Gators poised to win the series opener. They have an 8-2 lead on the fourth-ranked Georgia Bulldogs, who did not generate much offense tonight, and the offense they did generate didn't come until late. Did not get their first hit until Trey Phelps led off the bottom of the 7th with a single. And Aiden King pitched into the 8th, and he was great. And now Reith is on to try to finish this one off. Here's Daniel Jackson. Georgia 28-6. On the verge of dropping to 28-7. And ball 1 to Daniel Jackson. Averages below 400 with his 0 for 3 night. Strike 1 to Jackson. Tied for first in the SEC in home runs, his 49 RBI, number 2 in the SEC. Also started the night number 2 in slugging percentage and number 6 in on-base percentage. Number 1 in total hits with 53. And his teammate who batted before him, Trey Phelps, number 1 in batting average. And Jackson goes down swinging for out number 1.
Jackson a little frustrated at that second strike. He didn't feel like he was acknowledged as being in the plate. Got sped up a little bit by Reith. He likes to work quick, and then Reith gets him to chase up in the zone there for strike 3.
Strike 1 to O'Shaughnessy. And that'll be ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike to O'Shaughnessy. Ricky Reith to this point has made a nice return from injury here, pitching late in this ball game in relief of King, who was the overall biggest story of the night. followed by the Gators' offensive explosion there in the 7th. Two biggest stories of the night. As this rivalry gets off to a bang here on this Friday night in the 315th all-time meeting. One-two pitch to O'Shaughnessy, and that's going to be hit. And the first base coach for the Bulldogs unable to make the play as Drew Finley has it bounce off his hand. One-two pitch from Reith. That's high. 2-2. We got a text from Nick Belmonte. Always good to hear from Nick. Old broadcast partner from back in the CSS days. Next 2 games of this series should be fantastic over the next 2 days, Saturday and Sunday. Noon tomorrow on ESPN2, noon Sunday on SEC Network, the linear channel. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Fouled back to the screen. O'Shaughnessy hanging in there.
Heck of an at-bat, fighting off a lot of good pitches. Seen them all from Reith so far.
Two pitch. Wow, good eye from O'Shaughnessy. And it's 3-2.
Spike squad hanging tight. They're not going anywhere.
I wonder how long it takes to get that paint on.
Great walk
Ball
there.
for O'Shaughnessy. He's aboard. 1 runner on for Georgia here in the night. As I was walking into the ballpark, I saw them over on the side here near the student entrance, applying the paint to their bodies.
Good for them.
Don't know that that's something I would have ever done. Well, I haven't done it yet, so I'm guessing I probably never will.
There's still time.
Unless I lose
There's
a
still
bet.
time. Yeah, that's
Lose a
right.
bet.
There you go.
Or have too much to drink. Here's Lujo, swing and a miss. Oh, 1, swing and a miss. 0-2 to Lujo. Turned out to be a sour night for the Bulldog fans who packed the building. No doubt they'll be back in full force tomorrow. One ball and 2 strikes to Lujo.
And a quick turnaround. These guys are going to be back at the yard in about 13 hours.
Yep, sleep fast.
No less than that, probably 12.
Ball hit into right field. Yost over near the line has it for out number 2. Dogs down to their final out. Where tonight the Gators pitching has shut down the Georgia hitting. Oriach, 0 for 3. Stands in there with 2 down in the 9th. Ball 1 to Oriach. Swing and miss. 1-1. So this is exactly what Kevin O'Sullivan was thinking when he moved King to the number 1 spot in the order. Sets up your bullpen for the rest of the series. That ball hits O'Shaughnessy for the final out of the ball game, and that is a fitting way for this game to end. Right?
Yeah, very peculiar end to a very peculiar game. Started off uncharacteristic walk, errors, 2 errors in the first inning. Georgia hung tight, only gave up 1 run, but ultimately made an error there in the 7th. And you can see how this fitting end to the game, as you mentioned, with the miscue there on the bases. So
I mean, from the get-go, Jason, with the 2 errors by the Bulldogs in the first inning, the 2 hit batters by Volchko, the game just had negativity written all over it for Georgia from the get-go. And give Florida credit. I mean, Aiden King was masterful. I don't know whether, even if that doesn't happen, whether Georgia beats them tonight, because King was so darn good. And then they get 7 runs off Georgia basically after Volchko runs out of gas in the bullpen. Just can't get it done.
Yeah, took advantage of an error in that inning as well. So credit to Florida. You mentioned the great start from King, just masterful against a very explosive Georgia offense. They're going to have to pick themselves up off the mat. It's just 1 game in a 3-game set, so looking to bounce back tomorrow. The Dogs in Florida looking to take the series.
Yeah, Dogs now 28-7, 10-3 in the SEC. Gators now 26-9, 8-5 in the SEC. Our director has been Stephen Hill, our producer Blake Hines, and now for my partner Jason Jacobs and our entire SEC network team, I'm Matt Stewart. So long. Tomorrow it's noon on ESPN2.